Hey, Chaplain G coming back at y'all with another word of encouragement for today. So check this out. I wanted to bring y'all this word of encouragement, really almost like as a personal story, and hopefully my story will encourage you. I've been going through some stuff recently where God is revealing some of my idols. And if you don't know what an idol is any person, place, thing, ideology, like anything, absolutely anything that you put in front of God, like anything that you rely on for your needs or your happiness or your entertainment, anything that you put in front of God ultimately is an idol. And one of the first commandments God gives in the Ten Commandments, he says, don't make any idols before me. He gives specific examples in that commandment. But when he starts the sentence off saying, you should have no other gods before me, we see throughout the rest of the biblical text, it's not just things. It's not just like wooden carvings or metal carvings or something like that. It could also be people. It could be particular ideologies. It could be spiritual things that you put ahead of God. It could be things that you think are for your betterment, things that don't really necessarily seem to have they're not like a bad thing. It's probably something maybe that you've put in your life that you're like, man, this is actually a good thing for me. But if it's standing in the place of God, like if you are relying on that thing for your happiness or for your fulfillment in any kind of way, that thing is an idol. There was this one old school theologian that says that the human heart is an idol factory. Like it's constantly pumping out new idols day by day. Like there's constantly something, because we have a fallen human spirit. There's always something that we're setting up as an idol to try to take the place of God. And so I wanted to read y'all this verse because I've been kind of thinking through this for the last few days and especially last night. It just really kind of hit me that there's some things in my life that are idols, and man, to God's glory, and I'm thankful for him. He's revealing them as idols, and he's helping me remove them. So I wanted to read y'all this verse. This comes out of the book of Samuel. This is when the people of Israel, they come out of the land of Egypt. They go through their 40 years, desert experience. They get into the land, they conquer the land, they go through this time where they have all these judges, and now that they're like, we don't want like these judges anymore, we want a king. We want to be like all the other nations. And Samuel, one of God's prophets at the time, told the people like, yo, God is your king. Why do you want a human king? This isn't going to be good for you. And God told Samuel to tell him like, yo, they're not going to love you the way I love you. And the people are like, we want a king. So God tells Samuel, yo, don't worry about it. They're not rejecting you, like as a prophet. They're rejecting me, ultimately. God is like, fine, I'm going to give you a king. And then the people respond. They're like, oh, snap, I think we might have messed up. And they're like, Samuel, we need you to pray for us. And check out how Samuel responds to the people. This is 1 Samuel chapter 12. I'm going to pick it up in verse 20. Check this out. He says, and Samuel said to the people, do not be afraid. You have done all this evil, yet do not turn aside from following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart. And do not turn aside for empty things that cannot profit or deliver, for they are empty. For the Lord will not forsake his people. For great is his namesake, because it has pleased the Lord to make you a people for himself. Samuel ends up saying to the people, yeah, you guys messed up. You have made idols out of stuff that's not supposed to be an idol. They were taking this idea of a king and making that take the place of God. And Samuel's like, yeah, that's evil. That is when God said, don't have idols. You guys are trying to make an idol for yourselves. He says, yeah, you've done evil, but don't Just because like you feel bad for yourself, you feel sorry, and you're coming to God and you're repenting, don't turn aside and chase after. Don't continue to chase after those empty things. Like, admit you were wrong and press on. Cling to God. God is going to give you what you ask for. And Samuel says to them, serve God with all your heart. Stop turning to these idols. Stop setting up all these idols. They're empty. They don't deliver. It's not for your profit. And God, in his graciousness, sometimes will expose an idol in your life. And when you realize it, when you realize you've idolized it, maybe it's your career, maybe it's that next promotion, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's particular friendships that instead of like relying on God to be a friend in your life, you've set up these people in your life to do these things for you, or you've relied on this job and you've said to yourself, like, man, if I could just get this promotion, get this position, then I'll be happy. If I could just make this money, if I can make this amount, if I can get this degree. Our hearts are constantly pumping out idol after idol, trying to find something to fill our happiness. And God is saying, I am your king. I am the one who will make you happy. Rely and trust on me. Man, it's a hard lesson when you realize, oh, I've been putting my faith in this thing, and yeah, it's not there for me like I need it to be. It's not going to fulfill me the way I need it to fulfill me. And God is saying, yes, that career is not going to fulfill you. That promotion is not going to fulfill you. That life plan that you had, it's not going to bring you the joy you think it is. God is saying, I'm the one who brings you joy. Cling to me. Come to me. Rest in me. And Jesus would say something similar. He goes on to say, all you who are weary and heavy laden, lay down your burdens and take up mine. Mine is easy and light. Jesus is offering this exchange. We give him our heavy burden. He gives us this light burden of faith where we can just rest and enjoy him, because he knows that our hearts are idol factories. And he came to seek and save the lost, people who are lost in their idols. It's an encouraging word for me. Keep pressing forward, man. I pray that it's an encouraging word for you. I'd love to talk to you through that if you need it. Please hit me up in the email. Love to pray for you, because this stuff is a big deal, and Jesus is mighty to save. So, I love y'all. I hope y'all doing well. Hit me up anytime you need me. And until next time, grace and peace.